Welcome back to another episode of the Trippy J podcast. Joining me today is we got three Stooges actually in the chat today with us. One's wearing Ohio State, and we got two wearing Michigan. So Michigan's obviously the better team. So welcome back, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoy this upcoming episode. Jace, Jared, Andrew, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Feeling a little bit outnumbered this evening, but that's okay. We ride, baby. We ride. It seems like as I get older, the more outnumbered I become as an Ohio State fan, which is honestly weird, but I love it. Love that underdog attitude, baby. I live by it day by day, so let's go.
Wow, sounds like Jared's ready to rock.
Yeah, he's locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
You guys are going to have to keep me down tonight because there might be a lot of bias out of me. So if I get too much, y'all tell me to settle down.
I'll just call Washington. They'll keep you down.
Okay.
Hey, dude, we're just throwing out jabs here.
Okay, that's
All right.
unnecessary. We're talking about high school kids. That's unnecessary.
It's a joke. Let's a joke. Take it
All right.
seriously.
Anyway,
This is everyone's problem nowadays.
I'm doing great, guys. I'm doing.
It's
all right.
a joke. So soft.
Had a good weekend this weekend. Hung out with my fiance and just had some quality bonding time. That was fun. That was really
What a
fun.
guy. What a guy.
Yeah, how's that for
It
you
was,
two? Getting
it was a
used to that
homebody.
word, fiance.
It's weird.
It's
very
got to be
weird.
very weird.
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
How
I
often?
mess up. I
Yeah, when
mess
you
up
introduce
sometimes.
her, how about to say girlfriend or fiance?
Yeah, this is my girl. Oh shit,
It
fiance.
it definitely matters because if you say girlfriend, the girl's gonna give you that look.
Yeah.
You got to say
Honestly,
100%.
Honestly, not one fucking thing has changed. Not one fucking thing has changed. Besides, I get less of the good shit. That's all that's changed, okay? Move on.
Oh, I won't see Jared for 2 weeks.
All right.
All right,
Well,
Andy, how you doing?
Good to be here with you guys tonight. Glad to hop on. I golfed a little bit this weekend. Had some family bonding time, all that good stuff, and just had a good conversation about how excited I am to hear all the buck nuts calling for Ryan Day's job after he loses to Michigan twice in a row.
Oh my God,
Can't wait to
fired me
hear
up
that.
one time.
100%. If he loses to Michigan again, he's gone.
Yeah,
I don't
can't wait
think
for that.
so.
He is 34-4 in 3 years, and he has 2 playoff appearances and 1 national championship appearance. I think we'll be okay.
So, what do you think, Jared? Is he gone if they lose?
They lose to Michigan.
If Ohio State is 8-3 going into that game and they lose, he'll be on the hot seat. He will not be gone at the end of this year, no matter what happens.
So if they go
If they're
0-10.
11-0, if they're 11-0, and then they lose to Michigan, he's for sure not going anywhere. So I think we're good. Ohio State's good, dude. He's fucking 34-4 with 2 playoff appearances in 3 years. He lost to Michigan. Big whoop-de fucking do.
Got his ass whooped, not just lost. But
Yeah, 42-27. He got his ass whooped. Ooh, wow, blowout.
they got handled.
2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
They got handled on both sides of the ball. It was only close.
And Ohio State has been handling Michigan for the last 10 years. It was one fucking year. We'll see what happens this year.
Hey, we can pull
All
out
right,
that same
all
card.
right,
You want to talk about the past? You want to
All
talk
right,
about
you
the past?
Stooges, be quiet. We're getting into
I'm
this
not talking
episode.
about the past 10 years. That's in the now. That's present.
Hey, all I'm saying is Michigan made it a rivalry again, and I couldn't be happier.
Hey, all I'm saying is we have a
Don't
script
shake your
here.
head at me, boy.
We have a script here, and at the end of it, it says feeling heading into the season. So let's save this for the end, okay? Thank
It
you.
can't fucking wait, Jake. It can't wait.
Well, you're gonna have to wait because Jace is going first. Jace, first we're gonna be talking about the team strengths heading into camp. So, Jace, Andrew, you guys want to take it away with Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think the big strength, which always is going to be the offensive line. You got 3 starters coming back, and you have a transfer from Virginia who's on the best center watch list. I don't know what that the award is called, but his name is Alungaba something. Supposed to be one of the best centers in the country this year. So
Oh yeah, he was a transfer, wasn't he?
Transfer from Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be a big strength. I mean, they're always solid. The running backs. I mean, you got Corum and Donovan Edwards, who are both studs. You have a freshman, C.J. Stokes, who came in and said that he's acting like a veteran already on and off the field, which is good. You got wide receivers. You got Ronnie Bell back. You got Donovan Edwards, A.J. Henning, a couple others. They're gonna run. They're gonna dominate. And then back to what everybody wants to talk about is the quarterback. And I think that competition, I don't think it's going to tear the team apart like it normally would. I think it's going to make everybody play better. And both of those quarterbacks are going to play better. Young defense, lost a few guys. I wouldn't say the defense is going to be a strength, but I mean, I think playing against that offense in practice every day is going to help them out a lot. So, but yeah, offensively should be very exciting. I think just offense in general will be a strength this year.
All right. Well, I mean, sounds like they have a very promising, what is it going to be, offensive line. They normally do. It seems like they can always run the ball whenever they need to.
Absolutely.
So, Jared, going on with that, what's going to Ohio State strengths? Are they bringing any people to stop Michigan this year on the defensive side? Because they used that run game all over them last year.
Yeah, we'll talk about question marks after this. As of now, we're going to keep it towards Ohio State's strengths and not throw jabs while we're at it. The strengths for Ohio State heading into camp are obviously quarterback, running back, receiver, C.J. Stroud, Trey Henderson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those guys are all one of the best at their positions, respectively. And honestly, you could say that they are the best at their position, respectively, as well. So that trio is going to be dynamite this year. All of the word out of camp so far is that they are light years ahead of where they were last year, and that is scary. Another strength for Ohio State is, ironically, their defensive backs. Okay, so I know the defense struggled a little bit last year, but their defensive backfield should be pretty solid. Got a lot of dudes back there. No one left from that side or that group, that unit last year to the draft or anything else. So they have everyone back. I mean, I know it was bad defense, but they do return experience. They return playmakers. All those guys back there are 4-star, 5-star recruits. So last year, a lot of it comes down to scheme. So I'm thinking this year those dudes are going to show out. I think defensive backs is the strength for this team.
Let's move on. I really don't know what to add to that. I'm not an Ohio State guy. All right. Well, Jared, you said biggest question, so we're leading right into that. Did they get any defensive guys to stop the Michigan run game?
Well, Ohio State isn't just playing this year to play against Michigan. They have a lot of other teams on the schedule that also run the ball pretty well. So They didn't only struggle against Michigan in that department last year. Oregon ran all over them, Utah as well. So, yeah, biggest questions this year, defense. Defense is the biggest question for this team if they want to compete for a national championship. I think they made all the right moves in the off season based off of, bringing in a new defensive coordinator and Jim Knowles. He brings a defense that likes to attack. They don't play defense. They play offense while they're called the defense. So he wants to attack and he wants to go after the quarterback and confuse the quarterback. Scheme-wise, they're turning into a 4-2-5, so a little bit different from last year. They're going to mix up coverage a little bit more often. The coaches in the past have kind of relied on the athletes and what they had and didn't really scheme up anything. So Knowles coming as a scheme guy. Oklahoma State, they had a top 5 defense last year in the Big 12. So this dude knows how to scheme a ball team. So I think having the athletes and the dudes on that side of the ball and having a coach that knows how to scheme up a game plan, I think that's only going to make this defense better. Also, linebackers. Linebackers are a key question for this offseason. They have a lot of dudes there. They have depth there. I'm not sure if the depth is good, but they have a lot of dudes there. You know what they say? If you have a lot of dudes that you think are good, that means you have no one that's good. So that's kind of a question still going into the season for Ohio State. Also, a question for Ohio State is offensive line. I know they had the number one offense in football last year, but when it was 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, that offensive line could not get a push to get that key first down in big situations. Last year, they decided to roll out 4 tackles on the offensive line. So 2 guys that were tackles played guard. And it's honestly completely different than playing tackle. As a guard, you need to be able to drive those big nose guards and those big defensive tackles out of the middle of the line of scrimmage. They were unable to do that. So this year, they're going back to just your normal offensive line. They got their 2 guards, they got a center, and they got their 2 offensive tackles. So in that aspect, I think they are answering that question, but it still is a question until proven otherwise. They also have a new offensive line coach, a young guy, Justin Fry. He came from UCLA. I think he's in his upper 30s, so kind of like around where Brian Hartline is. He brings a different energy to this team. Out of camp, a couple of the offensive tackles, offensive linemen have been talking, and they're just smiling. They couldn't be happier. They got a coach that wants to coach them up, not only tell them what to do, but he's willing to get in the trenches and show you what to do. He played in the Big Ten. He played for Indiana. So the offensive line coach was an offensive lineman in the Big Ten, so he knows what it takes. He brings an energy. He brings something new. As an athlete, when you have something new, it's kind of, refreshing to see something different. So there's a lot of energy around this bunch right now. So those are the questions. I think they will be answered. But until then, they're still the questions for this team, and that's what's going to take them to the top to win a national championship.
Well, I say pretty good. You say a lot there. But no, I can't argue with that. It's just weird. I couldn't get over the fact they played 4 tackles.
They went to the
Bob Owen.
They're going to get the 4 best linemen on the field instead of having them play their natural positions. I mean, they had a good offensive line, but when it mattered and they needed to get a push, when people knew they were running the ball, they couldn't get 2 yards. And that's what they want to change this year. If it's 4th and 1 and you play at Ohio State, you should be able to get a fucking yard and get a first down. Last year, they couldn't do that.
Amen. Another thing, it's not really off topic. Dallas Gant, he transferred from Ohio State to Toledo. Was he a linebacker?
He was.
Would he have played?
He would not have.
Okay. But he played in, I think they said 20-ish games for Ohio State.
He played, but he wasn't a key guy contributing to the team. It was when the blowouts happened and those kind of things.
All right. Well, I just didn't know. He's around this area, or he went to high school around this area, right?
Went to St. John's.
St. John's, that's where it was. Well, that's pretty cool.
They actually play Ohio State this year too, so that's cool.
At Ohio State?
Yeah, in the shoe.
Yeah, Ohio State ain't coming to Toledo. That'd be fucking sweet, though.
That would be awesome.
I mean, didn't Miami go there?
Yeah, but could you imagine Ohio State coming to Toledo? How crazy this area would be? Oh, my goodness.
Why don't they do that? Why don't we set that up?
Well, I mean, a Hall of Fame quarterback went to Toledo to play there once.
Yeah.
According to Devontae Adams, Derek Carr is a Hall of Famer, and he played in Toledo for Fresno State.
I mean, he has a long career ahead of him, so I never know.
But, all right, Jace, let's move on to you. Biggest questions for Michigan.
I'll touch on it very briefly because we'll talk about it later, but I'd say one of the biggest questions is obviously the quarterbacks. That situation, it's gonna be tough to sit back and watch because everybody wants one person or the other, and whenever the other person's in, they're gonna be angry. So we need to be able, once they make their mind up on the starting quarterback, no matter what, I think it'll be a solid decision. But it's going to change the offense drastically one way or the other. But that is the biggest question, or one of the questions that is for the Michigan football team. But the other one, like Ohio State, defense. I mean, you lose Ajabo, Aiden Hutchinson, Dax Hill, and Josh Ross. I mean, those are some playmakers on that Michigan on the defensive side. But they say that the edge rushers in practice and camp this year are looking better and faster than last year. You know, that could be something that they're just saying to hype up Michigan fans like me, but that's hard to believe when you had two projected first rounders as edge rushers. Like, it's hard to do that again back-to-back years and say that they're better and faster. But the two that are going to pick up the slack, Mozzie Smith and Chris Jenkins, are just two of the
Mozzie Smith. I love that name.
That could possibly pick up the slack.
Hey, hold up
real
real quick. Can I jump in real fast?
What?
Mozzie Smith. Did you see that video?
No.
Of him doing the plyo test?
He is like jumping up the stairs?
Yes. Did you see that shit, dude? He got there in like 3 seconds. It was like the second fastest on the whole entire team. And he's a defensive end? Is that what he is? A D end or a D tackle?
I believe a D end.
If he's a D tackle, come on now.
This dude was moving.
Yeah,
oh my!
That was a little bit loud, Andrew. A little bit loud there, but we get the gist of it. Yeah, that dude was cruising right there.
Wow!
How much? What? That's it, because I mean they're high jumps, but that's a far jump too. It's not just a high
look
jump.
Look at number 54 coming down the stairs.
How fast he probably did the same way.
He's got the Zeke Elliott cut off shirt with his gut hanging out, but come running down the stairs. That's hilarious.
That dude has the slowest time on the team.
I mean, if that's not a doppelganger of Andrew from high school, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
He was
not even here to defend himself.
He was
anymore.
number 54, bro.
All right, but yeah. Anyway,
what was he?
Defensive line
53
and
damn it,
quarterback.
I was close.
So, yeah.
All right, let's get on with this. So we're gonna move on to the defense. Jace, you just touched on it. Obviously, that guy's very impressive. But anyone else who's gonna be like sticking out this year, who's supposed to be a come-out player, and anything else worth noting?
So I'm just gonna note one thing, just because I said a little bit about the defense previously, but Joey Velasquez. All right, Joey Velasquez is a two-way, plays football and baseball for Michigan. He won 2 Big Ten championships for Michigan last year, one in football, one in baseball. He is lowering his role for special teams. I think he's going to be a junior this year. He's off of special teams. He's strictly working at linebacker and taking some reps at running back also. But the majority of his time is going to be seen at linebacker.
So the dude's an athlete.
He is one athletic son of a bitch. But, yeah, Joey Velasquez, going to see the field a lot, I think, this year. And he's a really good athlete.
So
he's fun to watch.
Not only does he play 2 college sports D1, he also plays both sides of the ball in football.
Yes.
That's
for the University of Michigan.
That's kind of – I mean, that's an athletic freak right there.
Yeah, but he's just no remorse, goes and gets the football. He's just a hard-headed, like, meathead kind of guy. Like, total football dude. And he just hits bombs. That's all he does. Hits bombs.
And if you hit bombs, that's all that matters.
But, yeah, the secondary, I mean, they usually fill in when they can. Some young guys got to fill in some roles there. But, I mean, if we're talking about the game, they're going to have to step up to face those wide receivers that Ohio State has. Which I think that when they have, 10 games to do so? 11 games to do so?
11 games.
I mean, they should be all right for that game. And realistically, that's all that matters. So, yeah.
I guess my question is, though, with Michigan's schedule being so weak, are they ever going to see anything close to what they'll see in that game? Like, even if it's just one guy.
Probably there's not a lot of teams around the country that will see any team like that. Ohio State's the one of one this year on the offensive side. They have
I agree. I'm
they
just
have
saying,
three.
like,
They possibly have the best player in the top three positions. They have three Heisman candidates.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
think
That's
which isn't really saying much, but I think one of their biggest tests to compare it to Ohio State might be Maryland. Like to
100%
see how they
Maryland,
play against
100.
Maryland. To see how they do against Maryland, I think that's going to be a true test of how they're going to play Week 12. But we'll see. Who knows?
I think that's Michigan's hardest game outside of at Iowa, leading up to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully,
All right, Jared.
I don't think they play Purdue this year.
No, they don't.
they don't.
So
That's
yeah,
that's why I'm picking Purdue to win the Big Ten West, because they don't got to play any of the big dogs out east.
And that's why you have that quarterback possibly being a Heisman candidate.
He's winning the Heisman, baby. He's winning the Heisman.
All right, Jared. What's Ohio State have to do for their biggest jump?
Yeah, the unit that needs to take the biggest jump this year for Ohio State on the defensive side of the ball. So I kind of already touched base with the linebackers. They have depth. They have good players there. I don't know if they have any great players, but that's not the unit I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the D-line. When you think of Ohio State and you think of their defense, what do you think of? You think of the defensive end that just wreaks havoc on an offense. You think
They
of
had
the
a
Bosa brothers.
A first-round
think of
pick
Cam-
every year for 5 years, it seemed like.
You think Cam Hayward. You think Chase Young. That
Hubbard.
is why Ohio State's was so like they're so dependent on having that guy that wreaks havoc. That's why defensive coordinators never schemed anything, because they had that dude. And when you have those guys, it helps your secondary out. It helps your linebackers out. The last couple of years, they haven't had that. So that's why their defense has kind of been struggling since.
I got
Chase
one
Young
thing to add real
won the
quick.
draft. Yeah.
Going on, it seems like they don't have anyone on the defensive line, because it seemed like for a while there was people from Ohio State's defensive line where we're playing maybe 1-2 games in college and getting drafted in the second round. I mean, they had some defensive linemen that weren't even playing in Ohio State, and they were still getting drafted in the NFL.
They had good college players, and as an NFL scout in an NFL organization, when you see a guy went to Ohio State, that says a lot. I mean, it really does. Ohio State gets developed in college like they do in NFL. You know, they get treated like NFL players right in college, so they know that they're going to come with a mature attitude, and they know how to work, they know how to grind, and they know how to like handle an NFL type of locker room. So that's why you see Ohio State guys get drafted like that. But they weren't great college players, and also the D coordinator and the scheme, it's a lot. When you don't have, I mean, not everyone's Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. So when you don't have those guys, you gotta scheme up something, or you're gonna get exposed like they have in the last couple of years. So that's the unit that needs to take the biggest jump. They got some dudes over there on the D line. They got 2 super sophomores that were top 5 recruits out of high school, 5 stars. They got Jack Sawyer out of Pickerington. So he's all about the Buckeyes. He's grown up, you know, being a Buckeye guy, and he knows what it takes to get the job done in Columbus. They also got JT Tuimoloau. Now that is a name that you guys are going to have to remember, because this dude got here in July last year, and fall camp started in August, and he made the starting rotation a month later after he got here as a freshman. So now he gets a whole offseason and spring to develop and become the player that he can be. I would say look out for those 2 guys. And you still have Zach Harrison, who was a 5-star guy coming out of high school. He's been great, but he hasn't been – when you're getting compared to Bosa's and Young's, you have to be different. You can't just be great. You got to be different. And he hasn't shown that yet. He has all the tools and the makeup to do that. And it's his 4th year now, so he needs to take a leap. And I think as a leader, he has taken that leap, and I'm expecting to see big things on the field now for him as well. So I'm just going to kind of go over the starters that have been so the media was just there on Wednesday this week.
Andrew, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I can't even see it. So
it said Brown left Ohio State to join the military service in 1967.
Okay. So the media was just there for, the Big Ten takes their like mini tour throughout all the colleges and kind of seeing what's going on. So Ohio State had the media there on Wednesday. So a lot of the guys got a chance to see the first team defense, kind of seeing what that's going to look like. So the D line, they're going to have JTT, so JT Tuimoloau, D end. On the other D end running at the ones is Zach Harrison. So Larry Johnson's the D-line coach there. He likes to play favorites with the upperclassmen, give them a chance. But I think it's going to turn out that Jack Sawyer gets more snaps than Zach Harrison. In the inside, they got Teron Vincent and Jaron Cage. Both fifth-year seniors, man in the middle right now. Linebackers, they got Steele Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg.
Steele Chambers.
Yeah, what a name for a linebacker, right?
He was a running back.
He was a running back, so he just converted to linebacker last year, and he was their best linebacker. So if that doesn't say anything about what's been going on in that unit, I don't know what does. Corners, they got Denzel Burke, who's going to be a sophomore this year, who started last year as a freshman. And they got Cam Brown, who's a fifth-year senior as well. Safety-wise, they play 3 safeties since they run a 4-2-5. They got Tanner McAllister, who's a graduate transfer from Oklahoma State, where Jim Knowles came from. So he knows the defense, and he's going to be that guy that kind of brings everybody else along with him on that side of the ball. Josh Proctor is returning from injury last year. He got hurt in the Oregon game. So expecting big things out of him this year. And they also got Ronnie Hickman, who was the team leader in tackles last year, playing the other safety spot. So they had the talent. And, I wrote all their backups down too. And they just
I don't want to hear that.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to say the backups. I'm just saying their backups could be a starting defense for any other team.
That's what I was saying, dude.
Maybe the top
for
5
years,
to 10.
They had defensive linemen that weren't even playing in Ohio State getting drafted.
They got dudes, man. They got dudes on that side of the ball. I think so. One thing that I heard at Big Ten Media Days is that Ryan Day expects this defense to be top 10 in the country. Jim Knowles at Media Day this past week said, I don't know why the fuck he said top 10. We're expected to be top 5. So, I love the confidence. And honestly, when I heard that, I almost fucking ran through a wall because I was so happy about that. So, I think the defense, I'm going to try to settle down a little bit with the defense. I think the defense is going to be fucking legit this year. I'm done. I'm done with the defense.
I'm ready for it, dude. I'm just ready for football. I'm just ready for football.
Do you truly believe that, or are you trying to speak that into existence?
He doesn't believe it.
I think this defense is going to be fucking monsters. I truly believe
Why you got a big ass grin on your face, Jared?
Because I don't want to say this out loud because I want to keep this to myself. That's why.
All right, let's get the hottest take so far. What do you got? Say it.
I'm not saying a word. Defense is going to be good this year. That's all I got to say. Defense is going to be good.
Let's move on to the offenses. Who's starting at wide receiver, Jared? You guys have Marvin Harrison's son there. You have obviously probably the best receiver in the nation, so he's obviously going to be starting. And then how's that new look O-line?
Yeah, so those two guys that you just said, Marvin Harrison is going to be a flanker. He's going to be out wide this year. He's got a starting spot locked down.
Hey, don't you have a dude named Fleming that's going to be a monster
we'll get to him in a second. Jackson Smith and Jigba is manning down that slot position. So there's a battle for that third position at receiver, and it's between Julian Fleming, who was the number 1 recruit in his class as a receiver.
He was injured a lot, right?
He's been banged up a little bit, and he's also been playing behind Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So haven't got much chance to see him yet. And a sophomore who was also rated the number 1 receiver in last year's class, Emeka Egbuka. So they're having a battle in the offseason or throughout camp so far. So they're both going to see the field a lot. And I'm not sure it matters. Like when Ohio State is playing against Notre Dame and that first team comes out for offense for the first drive, there's a good chance you're going to see Julian Fleming instead of Emeka Egbuka. But I think Emeka Egbuka is going to play more snaps and be way more of a factor in the offense. The dude's a stud. The dude is an absolute stud.
No, they always seem to find the receiver.
Yeah, they got Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka are sophomores, so they're going to be back no matter what next year. And so offensive line wise, they got Paris Johnson moving to left tackle. He played guard last year. He was the number one offensive tackle in his class, and he was playing guard the last 2 years. So he's moving out to left tackle this year.
That makes a lot of sense.
Big things out of him. The center is Luke Whippler. He's going to be back for his second year. He was solid last year, expecting another solid year out of him this year. Right guard is a fifth-year senior, Matt Jones. He's kind of been the sixth man for the last 3 to 4 years.
You say Matt or Matt?
Matthew Jones.
Okay, because if it was Mac Jones, you knew he was going to be a beast.
Yeah, so he's been the sixth man. So when everybody's getting injured, he actually played in the Fiesta Bowl a couple years ago, the Sugar Bowl a couple years ago. So he's been in big games, and he gets the job done. Right tackle is an absolute fucking mountain. 6'7", 360, DeWine Jones. He's going to be a first-round draft pick next year. He was an absolute monster. And I saved the left guard for last. He's a sophomore, and this dude is an absolute fucking bulldog. Has an absolute dog mentality, and Donovan Jackson is going to absolutely tear up teams this year at left guard. I'm excited for this offensive line. The top 5 are really good. The issue I have with this offensive line is the depth. They have been struggling recruiting the last couple of years, so they don't have great offensive line depth behind them. So I'm praying that no one gets hurt this year. But reports out of camp is that the coaches are really starting to like some of the number 6, 7, and 8 guys in the offensive line. So that's encouraging to me as a fan. Let's just hope it doesn't get to the 6th, 7th, and 8th guy this year.
Amen to that, because that would be bad news bears there. All right, Jace, let's get back to the only question that really matters here. Who's playing quarterback for Michigan?
Well,
let me ask you this.
Previously, okay, what's up?
If you were the head coach for Michigan right now, who is starting day one? If it was you coaching,
I would start J.J. McCarthy, and that's only because of the possibilities that this offense has with explosiveness.
I agree.
And you need somebody that can handle that and make plays. And I think JJ's that guy. But I saw that they're going to play – both are going to play significant time in all the out-of-conference games. And they said that they're going to make a decision around week 4 to 5. I don't know what that decision is going to be. I don't know what they're going to base it off of. I mean, maybe
must be nice to play Bowling Green every week.
Okay. Thanks for your insight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. But other than quarterbacks, I just want to read this off for you right now. I just want to read this off. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, Ronnie Bell, Cornelius Johnson, A.J. Henning, Andrell Anthony, Roman Wilson, Eric All.
Playmakers.
You can put anybody at quarterback, and that offense is going to be good. But I think in order for that offense to fully shine to their full potential, it needs to be JJ. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
You think him playing enough last year and kind of sitting and keep staying healthy, do you think that benefits him a lot?
Absolutely. I mean,
because he still got some big time plays. He was still playing. He had meaningful snaps in the Georgia or in the Big Ten championship. He was in there. He made a big play, so he's been around it.
So I think what really helped him actually last year was watching Cade play all year. I really think that did help him because I think
he needed to see a passer.
He needed to see somebody that is able to make smart play and take care of the football.
Yeah. Yep.
I think JJ is talented. I think he's more talented than Cade.
A little immature.
On the field, Cade is much more mature. Exactly. And I think watching him all last year helped JJ out tremendously, and I think he's shown that in camp. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure.
All right, Jay, staying with Michigan. Do you want to list off their starters? I mean, you already listed off basically all their playmakers.
I mean, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, we all know they're going to have a good offensive line. They're going to be able to run the ball when they need to.
Exactly.
All right, Jace, any incoming freshmen that possibly going to show out maybe week 4, week 5, get a starting spot? Or anyone's just coming in getting a starting spot right off rip?
I don't know if they're going to be having a starting spot, but there's 4 freshmen, and even with there's 4 freshmen that are being talked about, and even with this running of this wide receiver group of 5 guys that played significant time at Michigan, Tyler Morris, Darius Clemens, and Amorion Walker are 3 freshman wide receivers.
3 of the 4 wide receivers?
3 of the 4 that they've been talking about.
Wow.
The wide receivers. And I don't know how much time they're going to be they're going to be playing. Maybe none of them are going to play significant time, but that's exciting to see. And then again with a freshman running back, CJ Stokes, I touched on it earlier just a bit. They say he runs like Blake Corum, which is good, but he's also a vet. He acts like a vet on and off the field. So he's a freshman, so he's got to take he came early, so he's got to take some courses that run over into practice time. And there's a story, they said that they're like 45 minutes late, some freshmen are. And so they got to come in, change, get taped up, everything like that. He comes into practice, and Coach Harbaugh yelled at him. He ran on the field immediately. He's like, hey, go get taped up, make sure everything's ready to rock. He said, I got taped up before practice, Coach. I'm good to go. Or I got taped up before class, he said. Got taped up before class. I'm good to go.
Dedication.
He's ready to rock. And as for the freshman to pull a move like that, I think is very impressive.
I mean, this dude's just sitting in the class, spatted.
Yep. But no, it should be a fun year. I mean, offensively, it should be really fun to watch them. Depth in the wide receiver room and the running back room, and even the tight end room. One of my former baseball teammates at Michigan, his little brother Max Bredesen, actually, their other brother is currently playing for the New York Giants. I think it's the Giants. Ben Bredesen, he was a lineman at Michigan. But Max Bredesen is a tight end, saying he's going to play some time this year too. So
it's a pretty athletic family.
Very athletic family. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting to watch these dudes take the field this year.
I'm excited. I'm just ready for football. I just like seeing those guys get up there, chasing their dream, and just being able to play like year one. Show them what they got. Well, Jared, we all know
true passion.
100%. Jared, we all know Ohio State's going to have some type of freshman that comes out and probably start all year. So who's going to be?
There's not going to be any freshmen that start an offense this year because this offense is absolutely loaded. Defensively, though, there are a couple freshmen I see that could possibly see the field this year.
Are there going to be any starters week 1?
No.
Is that
No
Jack Sawyer that you were
week
talking
1.
about? Was he a freshman?
He's a sophomore.
Okay.
They had started so many freshmen last year that they're all sophomores now, so they're losing anybody. That's the problem. So back when we did our Big Ten breakdown, I talked about this kid a little bit, Kai Stokes. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I said he's a fucking bullet back there, and he just flies around like a fucking banshee out of hell.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he stood out. He stood out in the spring, and this dude's still making plays in fall camp. So it's going to be hard to keep this guy off the field. They're loaded at safety, but I could see him seeing the field. He's gonna make plays on special teams. At Ohio State, the key for freshmen is to pop on special teams, make big plays. I know a couple years back there was this guy by the name of Chris Olave. I don't know if you guys remember him or not. But he blocked a punt. He blocked a punt against Michigan that was returned for a touchdown, and he went on to have 2 more touchdowns that game. So that was his coming out party. I know a couple of the freshmen this year are going to hopefully have that same impact. And then another guy that I like is 5-star Mr. Buckeye out of Kettering, Archbishop Alter, linebacker CJ Hicks, the top-rated linebacker in the class. He just lost his black stripe recently, so he's been making plays in camp. I know he had a pick 6 a couple days ago. It's going to be really hard to keep this guy at the field. Ryan Day said that he acts nothing like a freshman. He looks nothing like a freshman. I've seen pics of this guy. I mean, he's a solid 6'2", 215 already, and he's making plays. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field, too, with all the issues we've had at linebacker. So I would be more than happy to see CJ Hicks see the field this year. Not sure it's going to happen, but I'd be very happy.
Hey, what does losing the black stripe mean?
So there's a lot of different ways the black stripe is used. So all freshmen come on. So helmet, they have a red stripe right through the middle on their silver helmets. As a freshman, that's not red, it's black. They have a black stripe. So a lot of times it's used as, if you're a guy that's working hard, doing all the things the right way, pushing yourselves in the weight room, on the field, doing the extra things, you'll lose your black stripe. Or a guy like CJ Hicks, who knows that he's fucking good, it's used as motivation. So they kept it on him longer to kind of push him to that next level, to keep getting better, to not get complacent. So I guess in this week, they finally reached that point with him where they don't need to motivate him anymore with that. So he lost his black stripe this week, and now he's officially a Buckeye, part of the team.
Wow. So that's what it is. It's just like you got to earn your stripes, essentially, to become a Buckeye.
So, it could be motivation. It could be for a guy who, a freshman that's kind of feeling homesick, and they want to give him a little push and say, here, you lost your black stripe. Now you're a part of the team. Maybe make him feel a little bit better, make him feel more belonging. So a lot of different ways you can use the black stripe.
Alrighty, let's wrap this up, boys. Heading into this season, what's the outlook for Michigan, Jace?
Well, going into week 12, they're going to be 11-0. I think the other team is going to be 11-0 too.
If they're both
the
11-0,
season.
If they're 11-0, they should just make a unanimous assumption: national championship, Big Ten championship. That's the game. 11-0, 11-0. Week 12, national championship.
Well, here's the thing: if they both show out, right, they could quite possibly both make the playoff. Yes, absolutely.
It'd be
What are you shaking
impossible.
your head at, Jared?
A team that doesn't win their Big Ten championship, they're not going to be playing the Big Ten championship.
Only way it can happen is if Michigan beats Ohio State. Michigan cannot lose a game this year with the schedule they have and not win the Big Ten championship too.
So you're telling me if Michigan beats Ohio State and then wins the Big Ten championship, they're in the playoffs, and Ohio State could possibly do the same?
There's a better chance for that to happen than the other way around, yes. Because Ohio State would have beaten Notre Dame.
Yeah, you said earlier it wasn't possible.
It's
not possible that it could happen.
100%, 100%. But if Michigan loses that game, there's no chance.
Okay. Either way, going back to what Jacob said about a national championship, that could possibly happen. And how awesome would that be? See Ohio State at number 4 because they lost the Big Ten championship, and then Michigan at number 2 because probably going to put an SEC team at number 1.
It's NFL football down there.
No, it's going to be fun. I mean, a 10-2 season is a bad year. So anything 11 wins, 11, 12 wins, I think that's a good year for them. But obviously, it all depends on what happens week 12. So,
all right, Jared. So basically, is the national championship a bust for Ohio State?
So the question is, how are you feeling heading into the season? I'm not going to even talk about what I want to happen this year, what I think is going to happen this year. On my mind right now are the Fighting Irish. And heading into that game and heading into the season, I couldn't be any more fucking confident that Ohio State is going to walk onto the shoe at 7:30 that night and absolutely beat the fuck out of Notre Dame.
All right.
They
You
are
have a
gonna-
little bit of a tension here, and I sense this. There's a Irish fan that you don't like or something
There is
that maybe you
no
coach
Irish.
with.
There is no Irish fan that I do like. So that is more truthful than the other statement. But no, there is no chance that Notre Dame is even a part of this game in the horseshoe.
Do they score more than 20
Ohio-
points?
Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably do. Ohio State might score 60 though. It's going to be like 67 to maybe like 25. Weird ass scores. Notre Dame's going to be going for 2, maybe a safety in there somewhere. I'm not sure.
I respect it.
All I know is Ohio State is absolutely trouncing Notre Dame. And that's just going to, kickstart their whole season. And honestly, this is going to be the best offensive football. I can confidently say that. And I think a lot of people would agree with that statement as well. I think this is going to be a top 5 defense in the country. I think these dudes on defense are going to just turn heads this year. It's going to be a whole different animal down in Columbus. All the guys are saying the off-season workouts were completely different because they're sick of being called soft. They're sick of saying they're a Big 12 team now. You guys, the media, and all you fucking Michigan fans, Alabama fans are just awakening a beast right now in Columbus. The beast was in hibernation for a while. It is awakening at this moment. And
They
you guys
were
are
in
for
hibernation
rude
last year,
awakening
week
this year.
12.
The best thing about it is you're talking about Michigan and Alabama. Talk about Oregon Ducks who beat you guys.
Okay, let's talk about Michigan State, who you guys lost to.
Hey, I don't care.
We're gonna play that. We're gonna play
I'm the
devil's
host
advocate here.
Hey, I'm the host here. My name, if you guys can read it, it's the Wisconsin Whack Job. We're not talking about Wisconsin.
Hey, I got a question. I got a question about the Buckeyes. Ohio State loses week 1. Can they still make the playoff?
Yes,
They have to win every game 70-0 after that.
not true. Just gotta win
So
the
you
rest
think-
of their games. 12-1 Big Ten champion. Yeah, they'll make the playoff.
All right, so going back to my question, Jerry, can you answer it now? Is it a national championship or bust for Ohio State this year?
It's a national championship season. There is no bust.
No, I'm asking that. If it's not a national championship, would that be considered a bust for Ohio State this year?
If Ohio State does not win it all this year, it's a bad year. Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I mean, every year it's you're expecting to win the national championship, but this year is just a little, I feel like, different for them.
It's a completely different feeling this year.
That's what I've been hearing. Well,
20
boys,
days, baby. 20 days. 20 days.
yeah, we got 20 days till football, but we got a long time till this game. So let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We still got fantasy football to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. 20 days, it doesn't seem like it's that far away, but it's kind of far.
Yeah, it's
We
gonna
got
be
a lot
here
of stuff to
before we
talk
know it.
about.
Before we know
Yeah,
it, it's going to be here.
I mean, we got, 3 teams to draft for fantasy football? Still,
Yeah.
there's a lot to go on.
Hey, Jace, quick questions. Now we're talking about 20 days away. Doesn't it feel like just yesterday we were in Nashville watching the Rose Bowl?
Yeah. Yep.
Now we're 20 days away from the first Saturday. Okay, not the first Saturday because they have week 0 now or whatever the Saturday before there's games. But the real week 1 is 20 days away. And I feel like I was just watching the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
At an Ohio State owned bar that I made reservations to go to. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even know about it. Fucking
Hey.
Ohio State fan owned a bar in Nashville.
I
All right,
really
Drew.
walked in that bitch, bro, and there's people passing out Buckeye necklaces, wearing Buckeye jerseys, chanting OHIO. The fight song was playing. I'm like, holy shit. I need to live here. This is awesome.
Yeah, if I would have walked in that place, there would have been a bar fight.
You would have not made it out.
I never said I
You
would
would-
have. I just said there's going to be a bar fight.
He never said he was going to be in it.
100%. I'm going to start that bitch and walk out.
Hey, I know you're my brother, but I probably would have had to beat your ass too. I'd have been on their side, sorry.
All right. Hey, it's okay. Because if that one time we were in Wisconsin and you were wearing an Ohio State shirt with Dad, if something would have popped off, I would have jumped on the Wisconsin side.
You are a Wisconsin whack job.
I am. I had another thing to say, Jared. This is for you. Are you pumped for Friday night?
Yeah.
I was say first game. First
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, we got a big week ahead of us, start of the season, so we got a lot of work to do before we can start thinking about Friday night.
Traveling to Swantucky.
Yeah, good old Swanton, Ohio, is to play the Bulldogs. You know, the purple and white, maybe. Yeah, sure. Purple and white.
Purple and
Swanton.
cream.
They won like a fucking wing tee now, like a
Do
wing
they
tee
really?
with like their three backs in the backfield, like 1 yard behind the offensive lineman in the
So
three-point stance. It's the craziest thing I've
like
ever
what
seen.
Woodmore used to do in elementary.
Yeah, some crazy
That
ass
weird
shit.
stuff.
But yeah, I'm not even thinking about the game yet. I'm thinking about tomorrow. We have an offensive practice. We gotta get the boys going. We gotta put our game plan in. We gotta improve first before we can start thinking about swatting. We gotta improve ourselves first.
Respect. Alrighty.
Jacob, you got any comments on Michigan?
I really don't have any comments on either.
Wow.
I just
Officially not a Michigan fan anymore.
Wisconsin matchup. I transformed, and
Well, here's the thing. I really need Andrew here because I need him. I had the fight song queued up for Ohio State, and he left, so we no longer have the fight song. But if you're listening to this, just imagine the Ohio State fight song playing right now. Thanks.
Wow.
I don't even know what it goes as. All right.
It's the same fight song Lake has.
Oh, that is true. That is very true. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone listening to us. I hope everyone enjoys this episode. You can go ahead and listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, our YouTube channel. Link's going to be in our Facebook. You can find it there. Ooh, live shows on Saturday during the season. So once this dude turns this off, YouTube channel, we're going to be doing live shows on Saturdays during the season. Get ready for Saturday football. Thanks, listeners, for your support. We appreciate it, and hoping to keep growing this brand. Jace, Jared, anything to add before we get out here?
Nope. 20 days away. That's all I'm worried about. I'm worried about Notre Dame. Nothing else. Go Bucks.
You would be.
Jace?
I'm worried about Week 12. That's all that matters. 11-0, win or bust. 2-0 against the Buckeyes because it restarted before last year. So we're going to go 2-0 against the Buckeyes.
It did restart technically. It was off year.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Hey, we don't play you guys. We don't play you guys Week 12 this year. We play you guys Week 13. We got to bye this year, so we'll see you guys Week 13. Adios. We're out. We're gonna pause that shit. We're muting you because we don't want to hear that shit anymore. Peace.